Yes, Zack Snyder's Justice League is finally upon us. And it wasn't terrible. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, I have a ton of thoughts on this movie, so let's just jump into it. I'm gonna go into major spoiler territory. I'm going to break down every single thing that happened in this movie. I'm talking about everything. I'm going deep in it, baby. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, this is your moment. Remove yourself, leave, go watch the movie, then come back and watch this. Guys, this is gonna be a very long video, so if you want to skip right to the review, go to this point. And if you want to skip to my final score for the movie and my final thoughts, skip to this point. Alright. You know, it hasn't really been a secret that I haven't been a fan of the Snyderverse in the past. Cut to the tape. Everything they're doing, they're inconsistent, they're lazy, and even if they aren't, even if they do care about these characters as much as me, as much as you, they don't know what they're doing! What they're doing! What they're doing! Yeah, I've been pretty adamant about this movie being a waste of time. Why is it happening? I don't like this universe. It's 4 years later. He's adding stuff to it I don't like. I don't like the way that he structured this universe. I don't like the way that he treated these characters. This movie is a big waste of time. I don't care about it. But I was thinking about it, and I've come to the conclusion that no matter what anybody thinks about this movie, no matter what I think about it or what I thought or anything, this is actually a really great thing for movies. Honestly, this is unprecedented, and nobody has ever really just got to come back years later and remake the movie that they wanted to make and release the vision that they wanted, completely unhindered, unfiltered, their vision. This has never happened. This is a really positive step forward for artists and filmmakers who want to make the art that they truly want to make. I would really like to see more movies come out like this with no studio interference. And I am genuinely happy that Zack Snyder got to finish this movie because the studio did kind of screw him. And it's really nice that he got to finish this and dedicate it to his daughter. That's great. But with all of that being said, Zack Snyder signed a contract with WB. He signed a contract, he knew what he was getting into. He knew that they wanted a 2 to 2.5 hour product. So why did he shoot 4 hours? He knew what he was getting into. He knew what they wanted. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to show his 4-hour epic, crazy Zack Snyder cut in theaters. So why did he do it? Why couldn't he have just trimmed it down a little bit? I don't know, but if HBO Max or Netflix or Amazon or any of these streaming platforms will allow you to release a 4-hour movie on their platform, hey, I'm all for it. Let's let these filmmakers and writers make whatever they want, whether it's an hour and a half long or 4 hours. But taking away all that pretense, let's take away all of the real life stuff about Zack Snyder, his daughter, the Amber Heard drama, the Joss Whedon, Ray Fisher drama, the Ezra Miller choking the fan. Take all of that out of it, and let's judge this movie as a movie. How was it? It was okay. I can admit that this movie was far better than I thought it was going to be. I really thought this was going to be garbage, but it wasn't. The movie had some genuinely great moments, but it still had so many problems. But it wasn't terrible. It was not a bad film. One thing is for certain though, this movie was absolutely far superior to that garbage piece of shit, that stinky boo-boo cheese, dumpster fire, vile, evil movie that came out in 2017. One of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen. It was ass. It was absolute stinky ass. That movie makes the Snyder Cut look like a masterpiece. It's not even debatable. This movie is far better than that movie. But it didn't really have a high bar to cross because we're comparing this movie to a literal piece of dog shit. So, yeah, of course it's gonna be better. Oh my god, WB looks so stupid right now. It is truly astonishing that they chose to go with that version instead of this one, because this one is 4 hours, but you could have chopped it down to 2.5 hours and it still would have been far better than that movie. It's, oh my god, WB looks so stupid right now. I don't know, but enough verbal foreplay. Let's dive deep into this 4-hour Zack Snyder wet dream. Let's do it. Alright, so this film opens with the end of BVS, where Doomsday is killing Superman. It starts off with the death of Superman. It's a very Zack Snyder shot in slow motion. His arms are out like Jesus. He's screaming. And a shockwave is emitting from his mouth, and that is what eventually goes and awakens the mother boxes. But I went back and checked. I rewatched the Death of Superman and Batman vs. Superman multiple times, and when he kills Doomsday and Doomsday kills him, there is a shockwave from the force of the whole thing, but when he screams, there is no shockwave coming from his mouth. And I immediately, it took me out of it, because I thought already the first shot of the movie, it's inconsistent with the last movie. There was no shockwave coming from his mouth in the last movie, so he's already being inconsistent with his own story. But that's really just a small nitpick, and it doesn't really matter. Moving on, we go to Themyscira, where we see the mother box in a vault being surrounded by a bunch of Themyscirian warriors. And they're sitting there, they're ready, close-ups of their face, they're ready for something to go down. I wasn't sure why they were already in the room, because the mother box hadn't awakened yet. Superman's wave hadn't hit it. And she says that it's been dormant for thousands of years, it hasn't moved. So I'm not sure why they're already in there guarding it when it hasn't even set off yet. How do they even know what's gonna happen? But also, just a small little nitpick, just a stupid thing that he didn't think about. I can look over these oversights. What was really stupid was Superman's scream awakens the mother boxes. He's dead, that signals them to wake up, it's time to invade Earth. And the mother box cracks and starts glowing, and all the women are shaking and looking at it. And one of them actually, they do the stupid movie trope where there's something clearly evil and sinister, and you go up to it and you just gotta touch it. This strong, powerful, smart Amazonian warrior moseys on up to it, and she freaking touches it. She touches the glowing evil mother box. That was stupid. Then we cut to Bruce Wayne on horseback, riding on the mountains, climbing up mountains. It's about a 2.5, 3-minute segment, a lot longer than in the original version. I don't know if we needed it. I don't know if we needed to see Bruce on a horse for 3 minutes. I guess it was trying to convey how hard it was to get to Aquaman, but I don't know if it was really needed. But he gets there, he gets to the town, he starts questioning people, he's questioning Arthur. He tells him, I'll give you $25,000 if you'll come outside and talk to me. So it's basically like the 2017 version, just a little elongated, and the dialogue's a little better, a little less cheesy, a little less Whedon-y. But they go outside, they're talking, and just like in Whedon's version, I guess this was Zack's idea, Aquaman just starts saying, you dressed like a bat? Bruce Wayne, you dressed like a bat? Bruce Wayne, you're Batman? He just starts giving away Bruce Wayne's identity to these people, and Bruce is cool with it, and he's like, yeah, I'm dressed like a bat, I need you. And he's like, are you dressed like a bat? Hey, if you didn't hear me, it's Bruce Wayne, he dresses like a bat. I didn't understand why Bruce was so cool with him just yelling out that he's Batman in front of all these people, but it wasn't a terrible thing. Aquaman, of course, says, no, I work better alone. He jumps into the water and swims away. And this was the first time that Zack Snyder was just really being Zack Snyder. This is my problem with his movies. He just had to pound you over the head with how cool and epic this is. Not every moment, Aquaman swimming away doesn't have to be epic. Not every moment has to be epic. You need the small, little, quiet moments, so when the epic moments happen, it's truly epic. So Aquaman swims away, and instead of just cutting to the next scene, we cut to a woman slowly walking up to him. And she just starts, hold up me, she starts singing to Aquaman. And I get the implication of why she's singing. They view him as this deity, this Jesus-like figure who comes to their village. They like to sing his praises, but do we literally have to see her sing his praises? And it's like a 2-minute song. She just said, epic Zack Snyder. It was the first moment where I thought, oh Lord, here we go. I did not like that. It's stuff like that that could have been trimmed off, at least trimmed down. You could have made it 30 seconds. I didn't understand why he did that. That's the kind of stuff that holds this movie back. So stupid. But after that, we do get a great scene where Martha Kent is visiting Clark's grave, and she's mourning over him. She's at his gravesite. And I actually really love this scene. It's a great scene because she didn't go to Superman's gravesite, to his big public venue where you can visit his grave. She went to visit her son. She went to visit Clark because Clark is the man that she knew. I thought that was a really great little personal moment that was just a great scene. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, there wasn't some cheesy opera music playing. It was a good character moment. But then he cuts to Lois Lane in a regular scene on her regular daily routine. She goes and gets a cup of coffee. She gives a cup of coffee to an officer. She's walking down the street. Regular scene of Lois Lane. But there's another epic song. Playing this grand epic opera song. Why? Why does he keep playing these songs in these mundane scenes? It's so egregious. I just don't get it. It completely took me out of the scene. It's her walking down the street getting coffee. Isn't this epic thing? He hits you over the head with his themes. Moving on. After that, we cut to the scene where the terrorists have the bank hostage. They're gonna kill the school children. They're gonna blow up a... Whew. My life flashed before my eyes for a second. But yeah, we cut to the scene where there's the terrorists, they have school children, they have people hostage in a bank. They are reactionary terrorists who just want to start a revolution or something. They're gonna blow up 4 city blocks. Then Wonder Woman comes in, and she starts to straight murder dudes. She's slinging guys against walls, busting their heads open, there's blood everywhere. She is straight destroying them, and it's not very different than Joss Whedon's version, except for a few more shots. Some things are kind of cut differently, there's some blood added, but it was a fun enough sequence. It did look kind of stupid when she was going down the line, blocking all the bullets, but whatever. She ends up face to face with the last terrorist. He has a gun, she just blocked all of his bullets. He's shitting his pants. He unloads his gun in slow motion, and Zack Snyder just has to be Zack Snyder. I know that Wonder Woman will kill people when she has to, but she's not gonna just kill you if she doesn't have to. And she is shown to be super fast, faster than a bullet. She dodges them, she blocks them with ease, and the guy is standing there with his gun. He's out of bullets, so he unloads and reloads. And in that time, instead of doing the reasonable thing that Wonder Woman would actually do, run up to him, smack him on the head, break the gun in half, lasso him up, give him to the police. Instead of doing that, the rational thing, she does the Zack Snyder thing. She decides to clank her wrists together and make an explosion that destroys the side of the building and absolutely evaporates the man. She decimates him, and all you see is his hat slowly floating down. And this is the problem with Zack Snyder movies. This is what he does. Wonder Woman can easily grab him, restrain him, give him to the police. No way, we can't do that. We gotta evaporation, explosion, the biggest, most bombastic thing. That's the problem with these characters, is that they don't make rational decisions. They don't do rational things. It's just, it's not a huge movie-breaking moment, but when you have a dozen of these lined up, multiple of these insane, epic, explosive decisions by these characters in the movie, multiple of them in a row, it makes you get tired of it. It makes you not recognize these characters. But then Steppenwolf shows up. He shows up in Themyscira, and I gotta be honest, I actually really loved his design. His suit, the CGI wasn't like fantastic, but it wasn't near as bad as last time. I actually liked the shifting spikes, the way that it moved. It felt like the armor was alive. It felt alien. And the thing that really put this armor over the top for me was the purple color that they put over it. It could have just been a generic silver metal, a silver armor like in the last movie, but it was silver, but it had this nice shiny purple sheen to it. Adding that purple was such a beautiful design choice. And it really took his costume from being kind of generic to, okay, that's cool looking. I actually like to look at it. So he comes down and he's about to fight the Themyscirians. And they all yell out in unison. It's supposed to be this great moment. They all yell, "We have no fear!" And it's this great big moment. But literally 30 seconds before that, there are multiple close-up shots of the Themyscirian warriors trembling, literally shaking with fear. So when that line happened, I laughed out loud. You clearly have fear. You were just trembling. But whatever, the fight starts and it's basically the same fight as last time, but extended. It's a lot better than last time. You really felt the pace of this fight. The women were crawling on him and trying to grab him to stop him from grabbing the mother box. They were screaming at each other to do certain things, to close the barrier. They kept passing it off like a baton, passing it to each other on horses, shooting arrows. He was slicing them, making blood go everywhere. It was a pretty good scene. It was very entertaining, but the CGI, the green screen still looked so bad. It looked laughably bad. And even though I was kind of in the moment, I kept getting taken out of it because they looked so fake. Everything looked so fake in this scene. I don't know why this scene in particular looks so bad, but this might have been the worst green screen in the whole movie. Man, it looked rough. But it was admittedly a fun scene. I do think this was another scene that it went on for way too long. It was cool, but it just kept going and kept going. And it kept going, and there's more, and there's more, and we're gonna cut back to it. Oh, there's more? I think you could have cut about 5 or 6 minutes off of it, and it still would have worked wonderfully. But after that, we cut to Alfred and Bruce talking, and I gotta say, I really like Alfred. I liked him last time, I liked him in BVS. Jeremy Irons is great as Alfred. He was well written, he was kind of funny, I liked his banter with all of the heroes, and I liked that he actually got his hands dirty and was helping Batman with the engineering with the ship. You see him working on the gauntlets that absorb the alien technology. Yes, I really enjoyed Alfred. Alfred was good. We then get a pretty boring scene of Cyborg's dad at the lab. We get Diana going to look in the cave to find the painting of Darkseid. Then it cuts to Aquaman saving a guy on a boat, and then because he's Zack Snyder's badass, manly Aquaman, he grabs a bottle of whiskey and starts chugging it. And when he's done with the whiskey, he chugs it like a man. And then a song plays that made me laugh out loud. This moment was so cheesy. People keep talking. I keep seeing people talking about how good the score is in this movie. The music. It really accented the characters. The music, the epic. No, this song was laughable. You see Aquaman walking in slow motion. He's about to jump into the ocean, and he's conflicted about his life on land and in the water, and it's supposed to be this deep, introspective, slow motion moment. And this lame ass, cheesy, slow song starts playing, and it hits you over the head once again. He just can't be subtle. He cannot be subtle. He has to let us know, I'm a king, It's in my kingdom, I'm a king, there's a king in a kingdom. It sounded like a bad Christian rock song. It sounded like some Chuck E. Cheese music. This was the worst, absolute worst implementation of music in the whole movie. It didn't work for me. It was cheesy. It took me out of it. And it was another moment where Zack Snyder had to throw in another one of these slow, epic songs, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. It ruined the moment. Any momentum that the moment had for me, any emotion that I had in the moment was taken away by that damn song. Alright, after that absolute cheese, Aquaman heads down to Atlantis to have a nice conversation with Vulko. I think that these little conversations that were cut out of the last movie, these do build the character more and make you care about the characters a little more, but they have to make an air bubble to speak to each other. And I know that Zack Snyder did this before Aquaman came out. He didn't know what they were going to do in 2018 with the movie, but now that we know that the Atlanteans can talk through the water, they don't have to make an air bubble anymore, it just once again breaks continuity. And while that's not necessarily Zack's fault because he did this before Aquaman, this is one of my reasons why I think this movie was too late. Because now, on multiple occasions, it's breaking continuity in the rest of the DCEU. So they talk, Vulko tells him to take up his mother's trident, Aquaman says no, he throws it at his feet. It's an okay moment. But I didn't really care about the scene as much because I don't know these characters. I don't know who Vulko is. Well, I know who Vulko is in the comics, but in the movies, in this universe, we haven't seen him before. He just shows up. He's just some random guy who floats up to give Arthur a pep talk. Why do I care about their relationship? Why do I care about him? It just didn't work for me. They then cut to Steppenwolf and they attempt to flesh out his backstory. He did something wrong to Darkseid. He betrayed him in some way. They're really trying to make him like Zuko, but he's not as good. He's better than the 2017 version, who was literally just going, "Mother, I want mother boxes because I'm evil." They try to flesh him out a little bit more than that, but I don't know. He still wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. There are a couple scenes where you see a close-up on his face and he actually has tears in his eyes and you almost feel bad for him. It doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite get there. He's no Thanos, but it was okay. Then we get to see that big epic flashback in all of its glory of Darkseid coming to take over the Earth with his army, the Atlanteans, the humans, the Themyscirians, all of Earth's forces joining together to fight Darkseid. And it was fun. It was actually pretty cool. There were some good moments. There was some good action. It was cool to see the characters. The costume designs were pretty cool. Except for Zeus, he looked like an Aeropostale magazine model. He looks bad. But everyone else, I love the costumes. But Zack Snyder is trying to establish Darkseid as the main villain. He's pulling the strings. He is behind everything. He's this badass mofo. You don't want to F with him. But he kind of goes out like a bitch. He swings his axe and kills a couple people, and then they straight destroy him so easily, so fast. He didn't seem menacing. He didn't seem powerful. He didn't really hold his own. He seemed like a lame villain. And his first scene in the universe is him taking out a couple men, getting an axe embedded into him, and then going, "Oh," bleeding. It wasn't a great introduction for the greatest, most powerful DC villain in all of DC Comics. Also, while this battle was really cool, there was one thing that really irked me, really got under my skin. And that's the fact that we got to see a Green Lantern in this battle. That was cool. We got to see a Green Lantern fighting alongside Earth's forces against Darkseid, but he didn't do anything. He was so nerfed. Zack Snyder got his hands on a Green Lantern, something that he's apparently been wanting to do. He got his first time to showcase what his Green Lantern would look like, and all he does is literally fly around and shoot beams. A beam of energy. Then it cuts to him. He's shooting a beam of energy. Then it cuts to him. He shoots a beam of energy at Darkseid, and then Darkseid cuts his hand off and destroys him. Are you serious? Green Lanterns can do more than just shoot energy beams out of their rings. Where were the constructs? Where was the imagination? Zack Snyder is an imaginative guy. He has these big, bold ideas, but the Green Lantern, we get to finally see him, and he doesn't make one construct. He could have taken over that battle. Where were the cool, inventive Green Lantern ideas? Why was he just shooting beams? Maybe it's just me as a Green Lantern fan, a DC fan. Maybe that's just something that I wanted to see. But if you're gonna have a Green Lantern in a battle, make him be a Green Lantern, not just a generic alien guy who just shoots beams out of his hand. It just, that part really irked me. No constructs. He went out like a bitch. I don't know. That got under my skin. But also just another just small nitpick. It didn't ruin the movie, but it's like, why? Why, Zach? I did laugh to myself when it showed that the Atlanteans took their mother box and put it down in Atlantis to guard it, underwater. The Themyscirians put it in this heavily guarded dome to protect it. And then the men just dug a 3-foot hole in the ground, threw it in there and said, "Yep, that's good, cover it with some dirt." After that, we get one of the wackiest, wildest, most unbalanced, most unnecessary, weird scenes in the whole movie. We get the Flash Iris scene. Now, let me say that yes, it was really cool to see Flash's powers. I absolutely love the detail that his shoes explode when he moves at that speed. I've always wanted to see something like that. I've always wondered, why don't his shoes rip off? Why don't his clothes rip off of him? That was cool to see that his shoes exploded because he was running so fast. It was cool to see him bust through that window. It was cool to see him save somebody. It was a nice, fun, visual scene. But, oh my God. This scene is wacky. I don't even understand how this made it into a Zack Snyder movie. It was so stupid when you actually stop and think about it. Barry Allen is at a dog grooming facility, some store. He's having an interview to be a dog groomer, just work at the pet store, something. And he sees that Iris West in her nice red car gets hit by an 18-wheeler and she's gonna die, so he has to go save her. It's supposed to be this nice scene to set up their love story, to show his powers, to kind of introduce us to him. But the way that it happened was a professional 18-wheeler driver, a man with a CDL, driving an 18-wheel truck, maybe a 16-wheeler, whatever, a huge, big truck, is eating a hamburger, and he drops it in the floorboard. Instead of doing what any sane person or person who wants to keep their CDL would do, which leave the hamburger until you get to a stoplight. When you stop or pull over somewhere in a rest stop, then reach down and get your damn hamburger. He literally has one hand on the wheel, reaches down to get his hamburger in the floor, and he's going, you see the camera, he's reaching for his hamburger. He's reaching for that damn hamburger for at least 45 seconds, just not looking at the road. His 18-wheeler is just going down the road while he's grabbing at his hamburger. It was so comically bad. It was Wonder Woman 1984 bad. It was Joss Whedon Justice League bad. I don't know who wrote this scene. Who did this? The whole scene of the car wreck hinges on this man who was driving an 18-wheeler, dropping his hamburger in the floorboard and grabbing it for 45 seconds. And he was so negligent because he wanted that damn hamburger that he hits a woman and he's going to kill her if a superpowered being wasn't right next door having an interview at a dog salon. I couldn't believe it. I was laughing. My jaw was dropped. I was baffled. It was unbelievably funny, and not in a good way. And when the Flash starts moving and you see everything in slow motion, they actually cut to a sesame seed from his hamburger falling off in slow motion. And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that this was necessary. You couldn't have just had him run a red light or just have a freak accident happen. Why did he have to reach down for his hamburger like he was in a Popeye cartoon? It was so bad. And then the Flash, his shoes bust, he pops the window, and I'm thinking, this is pretty cool. And then another slow, angsty song comes on. A slow song comes on to try to highlight the emotion of the moment. And it didn't work. It wasn't as bad as the Aquaman scene, but it just did not work with the scene. It was so, once again, with a hammer hitting us over the head. Feel something, feel emotion, feel emotion. Don't you hear this epic slow song? Feel some emotion. Just why? Why did this scene happen? I like the fact that he had to slowly turn her and touch her, because he was moving so fast, he would realistically have to just kind of tap you. If he would move you at regular speed, he would destroy you. So he was moving her, and then he just stops, and he's staring at her like a creep, and he just starts touching her hair and her face, dude. It was so weird. I get that in the comics you guys are together, but you guys have never even met each other, and you're touching, caressing her face in slow motion. That was weird. It was dumb. The hamburger, then the Flash smiles and grabs a hot dog out of midair. The tone was so conflicting. It was so bad. It was maybe one of the worst scenes in the entire movie when it comes to writing. Whew, it was so dumb. It was, I don't want to think about it anymore. I can't believe they kept that in the movie. That's a scene that could be completely taken out. It was weird, it was stupid, it was dumb. Let's move on. After that dumb ass scene, we finally get some Cyborg backstory. We get to see him at a football game. He makes an amazing play where he runs it into the end zone. He hits the pylon, touchdown, he wins the game. He looks up in the stands, he sees his mom, but his dad isn't there, and you can see it on his face that it hurts his feelings. Dad's always working, he didn't make it to see my game. And it actually did give a little bit of character to Cyborg that was much needed from the last movie. Cyborg was nothing in that last movie. This scene was desperately needed. I do not know why they cut this scene. Maybe they could have cut it down to about 2 minutes, but he definitely needed this character backstory. Then you see that his mom and him got in a car wreck when she was trying to console him because he was sad his dad didn't show up to the game. Dad never makes it. She was trying to console him. They got hit. She died. He didn't. Silas Stone rebuilt him into Cyborg. We all know the story. But an opportunity that I think that they missed was the fact that I think that they should have introduced Cyborg as a human first. Because when we first see him, the first shot of him, he's Cyborg. The first 2 or 3 scenes we see of him, he's Cyborg already. He's already the monster. But they're trying to show us the humanity that he lost, but I wanted to see that humanity for a couple scenes first. Show us the football scene. Show us with his family, with his mom. Give us who Victor is as a person, then make him into the monster so we understand the humanity that he actually lost. I just think they flipped it. That's just something that I think could have been done a little better, but Cyborg's story was actually pretty damn good. I wouldn't say that Ray Fisher gave an incredible performance, but he was pretty good. He was one of the best characters in the movie, and I don't know if he was necessarily the heart of the movie, but he was a major player in the writing, the plot, the team getting together, beating Steppenwolf in the end. They actually implemented Cyborg into the plot a lot better than I thought they would. I thought, why is Cyborg in this movie? Why did they replace Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter or Green Arrow with Cyborg? But he actually had some cool powers that were different and that were needed. And a scene that I truly, truly loved and thought gave him so much character was when he saw that lady, that single mother with her kid. She was poor, she was struggling, she was a waitress. He saw all the tapes of her life, how she needed money, and he manipulated that ATM to give her $100,000, and then you see she's crying, she's going crazy, she couldn't believe it changed her life, and you see on his face a slight smile. It really gave Victor, not Cyborg, it gave you who Victor was. He was a good person. It was one of the few moments that actually made me go, damn, that's good. We then get a pretty nice scene between Barry and his dad at the prison that we basically saw in the last movie, but there's a little more dialogue here, and it was a good character building moment for Barry, but once again, Billy Crudup is no longer playing Barry's dad in the universe, so this breaks continuity. It's another reason why this movie just doesn't make sense to come out in the midst of the rest of the DCEU. It just doesn't make sense now. He's his dad in one movie, and then it's going to be a different guy in another movie, or he's not even going to be in it. It's just, that's the kind of stuff that's naturally going to happen when you release a movie 4 years late. And what do I say about Barry Allen's character? I don't hate him as much as a lot of hardcore comic fans do. He's not Barry Allen. He's not Barry Allen. I don't really care. I just wanted a good character, but I do understand that because he is so annoying in this. He talks so fast, he talks so fast and awkward, and he doesn't know how to handle situations, and he's trying to be this relatable, awkward guy who trips over his words and is excited about everything, but it was very grating. I only chuckled at a couple of his lines, and for the most part, he was just aggressively annoying. But his powers were sick. More on that later. Batman goes and recruits Barry, Diana goes and recruits Cyborg, and then we get another boring scene of Silas Stone in the laboratory. And just every time it cut back to this laboratory with him and Dr. Cho, the Atom, I was so bored. I thought, this doesn't really have, it has a bit of a connectivity to the rest of the story. They kind of need the lab for one scene in particular, but man, this is definitely a side plot that he could have easily cut out or at least trimmed down. All of that was so boring. Then, when Diana and Bruce are talking, she points out to him that Aquaman must be a halfling because he can breathe air. But all of the Atlanteans can breathe air because they make air bubbles to talk in, so are they all halflings? No, they're not. Most of them, if not all of them, are pure-blood Atlanteans. So, can they breathe air? Well, yes, they can, but for how long? How long can they breathe air? Is he a halfling because he can breathe air infinitely? Well, she doesn't say that. She says he must be a halfling because he can breathe air. But they all can breathe air. So just another little moment where not a lot of thought was put into the writing and the character building. I just don't understand it. Little lines like that are all through the movie where it just makes me shake my head and say that just doesn't make sense, Zack. But once again, that's just a little nitpick. It doesn't destroy the story. It's not terrible. But do you want to hear something that is terrible? Something that is completely dumb. For some reason in this movie, I don't know if she had it in the 2017 movie, but in this movie, Mara has a British accent, like a hardcore British accent. Why? Why is Amber Heard doing a bad British accent? Now in Aquaman, when you watch that movie later, she doesn't have the accent. She sounds American. And maybe it's once again, Zack made a choice, and then later on, a couple years later, they changed that choice. So once again, there are so many examples of this movie just came out too late. It breaks continuity constantly. She has a British accent. Now she doesn't. Now I look back at it, it's not even a good British accent, but I look back at it and think, oh, this is so inconsistent. This universe is so inconsistent and sloppy. It just makes me shake my head. But forget about all that. Steppenwolf is chopping Atlanteans in half. And there's blood. No, really, I did like that they added blood to the movie and that he was chopping guys in half because it really did add to the actual threat of him and his presence to the heroes that he's chopping guys in half, blood splattering. I didn't hate the blood and the chopping in half. I mean, it was kind of cool. I gotta say, J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, he was just kind of there. He felt really wasted to me. I know this was supposed to just be his setup for Ben Affleck's Batman movie, but he was just kind of there for one scene. He wasn't memorable, he didn't do anything memorable, he didn't say anything memorable, and it was kind of just a waste of J.K. Simmons. But the team is finally coming together. They're coming together for their first action scene. They get to the tunnels, they're about to fight Steppenwolf, and the Flash says, "Okay guys, do we have a plan? Is there a plan?" Oh my gosh. So you're telling me that they're going in without a plan at all? Batman, Bruce Wayne, the greatest detective and intellect in the DC universe. He didn't come up with a plan the whole time. He didn't think about what they were gonna do when they got there. On the whole ride there on the plane, they didn't speak about what they were gonna do at all. They just get there and make it up on the spot. I get the Flash or even Wonder Woman, but Cyborg and Batman, they don't have a plan until they get there? The action scene starts, and I actually thought it was pretty good. Cinematography was good, the fight choreography was good, I liked the moves that they did. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is still, she's not a great actress. I don't believe her as Wonder Woman. She had that one line that you see where she goes, "I belong to no one." And it's so stiff, she's not great. But she does kick ass. Batman kicks ass, he has a couple great moments, he's swinging around, he's catching alien fire on his gauntlets and shooting it back at him, he's kicking aliens, Wonder Woman slicing them in half, she's fighting Steppenwolf, and I really loved the depiction of Flash's powers. I actually loved the way that he looked in this movie because something that I hated about the MCU's Quicksilver was the fact that he was just too slow. We could see him when he was moving. You shouldn't be able to see a speedster. They should go, and that's what Flash did. He would be in one place, and then a split second, he would be that place. That's how it should be. We shouldn't be able to see him. When the rocks were gonna fall on the people, and all you see is, he moved the rocks. That was fantastic. I loved the Flash's powers, the way that he just kind of moved like 5 feet and shot that alien because he was moving so fast. I liked it. It was cool, and I really loved the moment where he's running on the wall and he pokes Diana's sword back into her hand because it was one of the few great team-up moments. It actually made them kind of feel like a team, which they don't for a lot of the movie. But I like that part. I like that fight. I like the action. Pretty good scene. But this scene is the scene where I really started to notice something. Something that got so annoying, something that was overused. Every stinking time Diana, Wonder Woman, comes onto screen, almost every time in the movie, you hear, epic Wonder Woman music comes on. It's not her BVS theme, that does play a couple times, but this plays every stinking time. You see Wonder Woman come in, okay, then it cuts away. Then you see her again. This theme literally plays 20 to 25 times in the movie. It's way too much. It's hitting you over the head with it constantly. The music in this movie was far too much. And this was the one theme that was just, it was way overplayed. Music in a movie, you can play music, of course, play music, but have some quiet moments. There are rarely any quiet, good moments in this movie with no music. A lot of my favorite scenes that build tension, the tension rises, 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 in movies have no music, no sound, or slight music. In The Dark Knight, when that theme, it slowly raises, building the tension. There are a lot of scenes in a lot of movies that have no music in them. So when the music does come in, you actually feel the epicness of it. That's how you make it feel epic. Don't do it every time you see the character. It got so annoying. Every time you saw Wonder Woman, and you'll notice it, rewatch this movie, and every time she comes on screen in an action scene, starts playing, and it's too much. It's too much. But the team is together now. Arthur shows up to stop some water. You've seen it. Steppenwolf gets away with the second box, goes and puts it in his little thing, his little wall, and starts talking to some guy. Again, it was kind of boring, whatever. Cut back to the team. Now the team is together without Superman, and they're debating, should they bring Superman back to life? Should they do it? Should they do it? And the banter between them isn't horrible. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But it's not spectacular, it's not memorable. I don't remember many lines that they said to each other, except for that one moment I did like when the Flash was putting on the hat, and Aquaman was like, let me see the first one again, and he showed it, and he was like getting Aquaman's opinion on what hat he should wear. Stuff like that was good. but it wasn't incredible. They didn't have a great team dynamic. And then we see Diana and Arthur talking on the back of a truck, and they're kind of bonding a little bit, a little banter going on, and he tells her that he hates the Atlanteans just as much as her, showing that he doesn't like that lifestyle. He doesn't like the fish part of him. But it made me think, and I might just be looking a little too much into it. I'm genuinely trying to find great things about this movie. I was looking for the great moments. I couldn't help but notice the bad moments. He tells her that he hates the Atlanteans. He shows that he doesn't like going down there. He tells Volko, he tells Mara, this isn't me. Screw you guys, you killed my mother. It's over. I don't like to be an Atlantean. I don't like anything. Leave me alone. Let me drink my Jack Daniels. But then why does he have fish scales on his arms? Why does he have scales to represent his Atlantean side of him? If he hates the part of him that is fish, why does he have fish stuff tattooed on him? I know why, because he's Polynesian in real life, and they wanted to make him have some realistic Polynesian fish, water, tribal tattoos to make Aquaman look cool. But that's the thing, Zack Snyder was so busy trying to make Aquaman look cool, he didn't think about the words that were coming out of his mouth. He says that he hates the Atlanteans. So why is he covered with Atlantean ink? If he hated being a fish so much, he would have not gotten fish scales on both arms. Just little stuff like that. Am I crazy here? Little stuff like that just really made me think, you don't understand these characters. Even the characters that you built in the movie, they contradict their own selves. I know it's just a stupid little detail, but so many of these stupid little details, you line them all up, and you have 20 or 25 of them in the movie, and it equals inconsistent storytelling. That being said, I actually didn't hate Aquaman as much as I thought I would. If you don't know, Aquaman is my second favorite superhero of all time. He's my favorite DC hero. I love Aquaman. I don't like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I think he looks kind of cool, but he is completely wrong for it. He's not a great actor. He's not Aquaman in my mind. But I gotta be honest, I was surprised at how much I liked him in this movie. He wasn't as surfer bro Aquaman as I thought he was gonna be, except for when he went, my man, and alright, and sucked down whiskey and threw it. There were a few moments that were still Jason Momoa Aquaman, but he really did surprise me with how much I didn't hate him, so good for you. Next up, we actually get a really nice scene with Martha and Lois at a dinner table, talking about Clark, talking about moving on, talking about grief. A good, slow character moment. Good conversation. She tells Lois, you gotta get back in the world. You've lost yourself. I've moved on, kinda. I lost the farm. You gotta try to move on, become something without Clark. It was a really, really good scene. Until it was revealed that that wasn't actually Martha getting that good character moment. It was Martian Manhunter? Okay. Martian Manhunter, his design was cool. He was comic accurate. He looked pretty cool. His CGI was really bad. I'm not just saying this, it was really, really bad. Really rough, unfinished looking. It looked like they rushed it. Whatever, that's the least of my concerns. It brings up the question, if you're gonna introduce Martian Manhunter, if he was that general that has been in Man of Steel, in Batman vs. Superman, where in the hell has he been this whole time? He tells Ben Affleck at the end of the movie, I'm ready to come back into the world and help you guys, but that's so stupid. You're telling me Martian Manhunter has been on Earth for like 15 years and he hasn't done anything? He hasn't come out? So you're telling me when Zod comes down and fights Superman and they're destroying the planet and he wants to take over the Earth and turn it into Krypton, he just sits there and launches missiles at him? Are you serious? When Doomsday is unleashed and they're fighting and Wonder Woman and Batman come out and they're destroying the city and Doomsday is going to destroy the Earth if they lose, all he does is sit around in a room and shoot missiles at him? Why doesn't John Jones come out? Why does Martian Manhunter just sit on the sidelines? Oh yeah, because he wasn't actually Martian Manhunter. He was just a general. Now Zack has retroactively changed it to now he is Martian Manhunter. But that just means that Martian Manhunter is a little bitch who hasn't come out to help anything. He was just gonna sit around and let Earth die multiple occasions. It retroactively ruins, doesn't ruin, but it makes his past films worse. It makes plot holes. It makes you question it. Putting Martian Manhunter in here, it was so forced. It was not a great moment. Plus, it took away a great moment from Martha. I don't know. It was one of the moments in the movie where it was so evident that Zack was just throwing everything at the wall, saying, here, Martian Manhunter, here's this, a nightmare, here, love my movie, you want more movies, Martian Manhunter, he can be in it more, but it makes you question where he's been the whole time. I don't buy that he was just gonna sit on the sidelines during those last battles. God. Look, I know I'm going kind of hard on this movie and it seems like I'm trashing it, but I'm really not trying to. I'm not trying to trash this movie. I want to find the good moments in this movie. I can admit there are some great moments in this movie, but there were also so many flawed moments that made me scratch my head, that made my jaw drop, that made me think about the other movies in a different light, that made me think about the inconsistencies. So many moments that I just didn't love. I'm sorry. But the team goes and they resurrect Superman, and it's basically the same scene as last time. They dig up his body, they put the box there, Flash runs, he does it, blah, blah, blah. Superman comes out, no mustache this time, that was great. They fight, and the fight was almost identical except for maybe 4 or 5 new shots, but it was basically the same thing. And still one of the best moments in the movie, a great moment, was when Flash is running, he's gonna go get Superman, and you see Superman look at him in slow motion like, that's right, bitch, I can move fast too. That was a genuinely great moment. Then they start swinging at each other. That was good. But the moment, the scene ends differently than the last time. And this was the one scene where I actually thought that the 2017 movie did it better than this movie. Once again in this movie, Lois shows up and is the one to talk Clark down. And he takes her away to the farm, and Lois is the key. She's the one who makes him have his memories come back. But in Joss Whedon's version, Batman had her as a backup plan. Bring out the big gun. That was a genius move on his part, to have her ready, because she would make Superman come back to Earth and realize who he is, because he loves her. It's the woman he loves. It made sense for the script. In this movie, she just so happens to be walking by because she walks by every day. She just so happened to be there. That was it. I think it was better implemented that Batman brought her, because that's something Batman would do, using her as a pawn to get Superman back. That's better than, hey, I'm just walking by, I just so happen to be here. It's not a big thing. I don't think it was bad in the movie, I just think it was done better last time. Speaking of changes, I am now inside because there were just way too many wasps out there and I'm starting to get a sunburn. So, let's move on from in here. Let's not dwell on this. Let's continue. I liked the next scene when Clark returns. He goes back to the farm, he puts the shirt on, he has this moment with Lois, and then his mom comes back and they have a nice moment. I thought that was pretty good, and when he goes back to the ship and he's looking at all of his suits, reminiscing about his fathers and what they taught him, and the Man of Steel music, you can hear it in the background, I like that moment as well. So Superman has returned. He is back. And instead of grabbing his classic blue and red suit, he chooses a black suit. Just because? I don't know why. They don't explain why he chose the black suit. I thought there would be a thematic reason in the story for him choosing it, or why he has to wear it, but he just picks the black suit because it looks cool? Then Superman flies up above the Earth and we get the obligatory Zack Snyder Superman Jesus shot of him with his arms out on the cross, looking at Earth as their savior. Why? Then Batman and Cyborg finally get their plane going. They finally get it working, and it's this big plot point through the whole movie. They mention it 2 or 3 times to Alfred and to each other. The ship won't work. I have the best Wayne Enterprises engineers working on it, and they couldn't figure it out. We just can't get this ship to work. It's a prototype. We can't get the ship to work. Cyborg, get the ship to work. And then they get the ship to work, and it's this big moment, but it's not really because it's a ship. You're Bruce Wayne, you can't get this drop ship to fly. They built it up to this big moment of, yay, Batman made a plane that can carry 7 people. What? Why is this even an issue for Bruce Wayne? But forget about all that. The team is finally ready to go on their final mission. They are suiting up. And of course, some hard rock music is playing to let you know that this moment is awesome. It's cool. It's edgy. The Justice League officially forms and they go in and start fighting parademons, but there wasn't enough back and forth. There wasn't enough conflict in the team to really have this wow moment when they actually come together. There was no point where they were really divided. It just didn't feel as well done as it could have. There was no big moment where the team is all together and you're going, oh my god, this is amazing, I can't believe they're all finally together. They just kind of ride there together and then they go their separate ways and fight parademons. But it is a pretty good action scene, and it does have a handful of good moments in it. Wonder Woman helps Batman, Cyborg catches Aquaman and throws him, Aquaman rides the Batmobile, Aquaman is spearing aliens, Batman gets on that alien turret and is shooting people, and still, every single time Wonder Woman shows up to slice some aliens, you hear, once again, just won't stop. That song just won't stop. But they're fighting, they're all doing their own thing. Flash is running around the city to do a mega charge to help Cyborg hack into the box and kill Steppenwolf. And Steppenwolf comes over and is about to land a blow on Cyborg. And all of a sudden, boom, Superman shows up and the axe just ding on his shoulder. And it wasn't a stand up and cheer moment, but it was a nice moment. I think the moment could have been a little more impactful, and when he says, I'm not impressed, it didn't really get me going. It wasn't a great line, but he proceeds to blow and freeze the axe, and then he just flicks it and shatters it. That was great. And then he proceeds to just whoop Steppenwolf's ass. He just totally takes the battle over. He starts wailing on him. You see a few shots from the Joss Whedon version. You see some new stuff. He is beating his ass. And while it's really cool to see Superman just come in and overpower this bastard, it kind of takes the whole team dynamic out of it because they're kind of fighting just near each other. They're not really fighting as a team ever, and then when Superman comes in, he totally just takes it over. It's the Superman show. He's OP, and everyone else just stands around. Aquaman says, alright. And even though they're the Justice League and they're supposed to be a team, they honestly don't feel like one. They don't feel like they have any chemistry. They don't work together. They don't do any team-up moves. They don't feel like their powers really complement each other. They don't really communicate during the battle. It's just Wonder Woman hit, slice. Aquaman hit, slice. Cyborg hacks. Superman comes in. Hit, boom, boom, boom. Flash just runs around the whole time. Batman just hitting, doing what he can. They never really work together that well. And when Superman comes in, they have the problem that I had in Batman Superman where he and Wonder Woman don't say one word to each other and it feels like they have no chemistry. They have no relationship. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they don't really talk to each other. Superman just comes in, whoops ass. Cyborg and Flash are really the only two that talk to each other a lot. They're really communicating for the plan, but everyone else doesn't really talk to each other a lot. I mean, is that too much to ask to get Superman and Wonder Woman to develop a relationship, to get Superman and Batman to develop a relationship? Can we get some team-up moves? I mean, I know that we want this big, epic drama, but it's a superhero movie, guys. We read the comics for the cool action. You put these heroes together to see how their powers react to each other, how they can work together, and we don't really get any of that. It's just the Superman show and everyone else is just standing around. He doesn't say anything to Batman. He doesn't say anything to Wonder Woman. They don't really talk. I mean, why are people just overlooking this? I know there are some really, really cool moments in this final battle. I'm about to get to a great moment. But the team doesn't feel like a team. They don't speak to each other. They don't communicate. And while there are a couple of really cool moments, like, where are the incredible, epic Justice League, make you cheer, big spectacle moments? They're just not there, except for one I'm about to get to. I don't know, I was liking the character development, I was liking the banter a bit, but when they actually team up and become the Justice League, they just don't feel like the Justice League. But what happens next is the team actually fails to stop Steppenwolf, and all three boxes come together and they explode, destroying everything, evaporating everything. It's gonna destroy the planet. And then the Flash starts shaking. And I was thinking, what's happening here? And then you see everything just turns into like a universe. It looks like he's in a different dimension, the multiverse. And he's telling himself, I gotta go faster than the speed of light. I gotta break the one rule. I gotta do it. And the mother Flash runs and starts turning back time. Time traveling, reversing time with each step. You see Superman and Batman and Cyborg and everybody, their limbs and their molecules are forming back together, and the ground and the earth and buildings are coming back together as he's running. And I gotta say, this was the one scene in the movie where my jaw was dropped. It was great. It was amazing. I couldn't believe they were going there. I could not believe they were doing this. The Flash is turning back time. Okay, because he was not in the battle a lot. He was just running around, getting charged up to do this one thing, and I was thinking, damn, where is the Flash? He should be in here destroying people. He should come in and in the blink of an eye, grab Steppenwolf's axe, chop his head off, slice him in half, throw his body parts everywhere. He could have easily defeated Steppenwolf, and I was wondering, where is the Flash? And they were saving him for this moment. Now, I do think he should have been in the battle more, but they kind of put him on the outside because he's too overpowered. He could have destroyed Steppenwolf and every parademon like that. It would have been too easy, so they had to write a way for him to run around and charge up. But when he reversed time, that was great. That was an amazing moment. That was awesome. But when he was doing it and he was talking to himself and he was talking to his dad, Dad, your son is one of the best of the best. I thought he was actually sending a message through time like he did to Bruce to tell his dad. I thought it was going to cut to his dad hearing it, but he was just talking to himself. So it was kind of cheesy, but I didn't care because the moment was so cool. But also, does anybody know that he did it? That the Flash just time traveled? He reversed time? Did he tell anybody what happened? Did anybody ask what happened? How did we get saved? Does anybody remember what happened? Don't you think if they knew what happened, they would be like, holy crap, you can time travel? It was never brought up again. I think that was just kind of an oversight. He time travels, then Wonder Woman just cuts off Steppenwolf's head, and they win. But even though I don't think they were a great team, I did love that one team shot. When that portal was open and Darkseid was on one side of it and the team was on the other side, and without any dialogue, they were just staring at each other. It was such a good moment. It didn't need dialogue because they conveyed everything with just them looking at each other. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, they were standing there staring at Darkseid saying, come on, come at us, bro. Oh yeah, and I forgot. Cyborg actually does have one more great moment where he says, I'm not broken, and I'm not alone, and he accepts himself for what he's become. It was a genuinely really good character moment. Yeah, I mean, there were quite a few good to great moments in that final act. I think it really picks up in the second half of the film. The last 2 hours, I think, were better than the first 2 hours, and there are some genuinely great character moments, but I'm just not sure if the whole thing came together as a whole and was great. I think there were some great moments, some really bad moments, some regular moments, and I think it evens out to just being decent. There's a montage scene to show where everybody ends up. Everybody's fine. Yay, yay, yay. They won the day. the Justice League is formed, kind of, and the movie ends. But not really. We get an after-credits scene where cringy Lex Luthor talks to Deathstroke and he tells him Bruce Wayne is Batman, and Deathstroke smiles and they drink together, and I like Deathstroke and what he looks like. I like Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. He was promising. I wish that they would have kept him on, because a Gareth Evans Deathstroke movie, Deathstroke versus Ben Affleck's Batman, that did actually sound awesome. And Deathstroke being my second favorite DC villain, I definitely want to see more of him. But I definitely don't want to see more of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor and his eye twitching and his stupid looking bald head. He looks like a toddler. He looks like Boss Baby. He does not belong in that suit. He does not belong in the same stratosphere as the name of Lex Luthor. I'm sorry, he was no better in this scene than he was 6 years ago. But that's still not the end of it. We get another tacked on scene where it's the nightmare future, Superman's a bad guy, Darkseid is taking over the world, you have Flash, Cyborg, Batman, Deathstroke, Mera, and Joker all together as this ragtag group of survivors, and they're trying to stay away from the parademons and Superman. And it had nothing to do with the rest of the film. It had no narrative meaning. It was just there for Zack Snyder to say, look at this, look what I can do, look what can happen, come on, you want more? You want more? And it was so forced. It was just so unnecessary. And I'm sorry, but Leto was better here as Joker. He was the long hair, post-apocalyptic Joker with the police badges on him. He was slightly better than the 2016 Joker, but man, he was still so bad. His laugh, he sounded like a demented old man who hasn't taken his pills yet. He sounds just like Jim Carrey. Does anybody else think that? He sounded just like Jim Carrey. Oh, Batman. Ooh, Jim Carrey, 90s Jim Carrey Batman. It was... I don't know. I didn't hate the scene, but it did nothing for me. Batman and Joker are talking back and forth. I didn't care. I didn't care about their relationship because we've never seen them together. We don't know their history. Batman talks about Harley Quinn and Joker talks about Robin, but we've never seen them together. We've never seen them interact. I don't care about them. And this isn't even real. We're not even seeing the real Joker talk to the real Batman. Warning. If you are a child or a person who does not enjoy foul language, I do apologize for what's coming ahead. I dropped the F-bomb many times, and if you care about that, I'm sorry. If you don't care about it, this isn't for you. Let's continue. And in a Zack Snyder fashion, he of course had to have Batman say, and you better believe, I will fucking kill you. And it was so angsty. It was so 14-year-old. You want to hear Batman say fuck? Here you go. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Well, you know what? What's stopping you, Batman? You kill other people. You've killed dozens of people, hundreds of people. You're in a post-apocalyptic world with the Joker. Nobody's stopping you. Why do you need the Joker on your team? He's weak. He can't do anything. You have Deathstroke, Cyborg, Flash, Mera. Why do you need Joker, Batman? If you're gonna fucking kill him, Batman, then fucking kill him. But don't just say you're gonna fucking kill him if you're not gonna fucking kill him. So stupid. But yeah, they set up this whole post-apocalyptic nightmare future for the sequels, but it turns out it's just a dream that Bruce Wayne has again. For some reason, Batman just keeps having these nightmare future dreams that are oddly specific. I don't know, it just felt tacked on, it felt like a waste of time, it felt useless, it was useless setup, it was useless screen time, just wasting minutes. And then it turns out that he wakes up from the dream to have Martian Manhunter one more time come down and tell Batman, get ready for the future, hey, I could be in the sequel. You guys see that nightmare? You see, I'm Martian Manhunter. You want more of me? Come on, let's do a sequel. Come on, everybody, beg for a sequel on Twitter. Please, get on your social medias and beg for a sequel. I mean, I'm coming back to the world, Batman, but really, beg for a sequel. And it was so forced, it was so out of nowhere. I will second everything that I said earlier about Martian Manhunter. Where were you? Why are you coming back now? And he looked so bad. His CGI was so bad. They had to put the sun behind him and cast shadow on his face because the CGI was so unfinished. It was so clearly rushed and reshot and added in at the last moment. And that's how the movie ends, and it really just left me with the feeling of, okay. I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't hate this movie. I thought this movie was going to be garbage, and it wasn't. Was it great? No. But it was watchable, and it's a decent movie. It's far better than Batman vs. Superman. It's far better than 2017 Justice League. It's far better than WW84. It's far better than the Suicide Squad. So, it's probably one of the better DCEU movies, but that's not really saying a lot because a lot of them really suck. But this movie did not suck. I will give it to you. I will admit it. I thought it was gonna suck, and it didn't. I actually went in wanting to find great things. I wanted to love it, to get invested in these characters, to love the action, to love the writing, to love everything about it. I just didn't get invested in the characters. I didn't really care when Superman came back. Batman was good. Aquaman was okay. Wonder Woman was stiff and cheesy, but with some good action. The Flash was annoying with good action, and Cyborg was actually pretty damn good. There are quite a bit of things to like about this movie, but for me, it just didn't all come together to make a great film. I think the 4-hour runtime was a bit too much, and it actually hurts this movie. I think this movie would have been a lot better at about 3 hours, because he just likes to linger on shots for a long time. He likes to just do a lot, throw a lot at you and not really trim the fat off of it, take away some of the stuff that you don't really need. It's kind of like Quentin Tarantino. I really like Quentin Tarantino, but even his best films, he just can't help but be Quentin Tarantino. He adds a little too much dialogue, he makes some scenes a little too long, there's just a little too much there. It's always a great movie, but damn, it's overbloated. You could have trimmed a lot of that out, and I think that this movie has that problem. Adding all those unnecessary shots of just people's faces, close-ups, side characters, these plots that don't connect, the nightmare sequence, Martian Manhunter, and it was a lot to handle. And no, not because I didn't understand it, the greatness of Zack Snyder, the genius, the intellect. I only like stupid, dumb Marvel movies, so the DCEU goes over my head. I don't get it. I'm a dumb, Marvel-loving hick. Not because of that. It's not because Zack Snyder is this genius auteur and I just didn't understand the deepness of his art, and I just, like I said, I love Marvel movies. I just love my dumb Marvel movies, and I just don't get them DC films. No, it's because the plot, the character interactions, the team, the narrative, the dialogue, the writing, the everything about the movie, the structure of it, everything about it just didn't come together for me. It didn't completely work. But that's not to say that it's completely without merit. There were some good character moments. There was some good writing. There was some good action. There was good team building. There was good world building. There were good things in this movie. But I think the bad and the good equal each other out to make an okay movie. The music was overbearing and overused. The action was good. The character building was okay. The villain was okay. The effects were decent. And the overall plot and pace of the story was okay. I completely understand if you love this movie. Oh man, there are going to be so many people who love this movie, who jerk this movie off and suck off this movie. People are going to absolutely love this movie. And that's okay. Really, enjoy it. Love it. Celebrate it. That's fine. I just didn't love it. And if you also didn't love it, or if you hated it, that's okay too. Zack Snyder's Justice League gets 5.5 out of 10 pickles from me. More good than bad, but not enough good to make this a great film. Woo! There you have it. It's over. It's over. It's finally over. I hope I never have to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League or any of this drama ever again. I'm done with it. Maybe, for now. But I hope that all the drama's over. I hope all the fighting can be over. I hope the people who wanted this movie can finally be happy. I hope the people who don't like it can not like it in peace. If you hate it, love it, or if you're in the middle, it's whatever. I want you to tell me in the comments. Please, let's have a great conversation. What did you think about Zack Snyder's Justice League? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you like me? Are you lukewarm? You give it a 5 or 6 out of 10? Let's talk about it, because whatever you think, you are free to think it in my comment section. Whew, yeah, but that's enough for me. I'm done talking. That was my very, very lengthy discussion on Zack Snyder's Justice League. There you go. There are my thoughts. I truly, truly appreciate if you watched all the way to this point in the video, or if you just watched 1 second, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, I don't care. However much you watched, I appreciate you being here, supporting my channel, and if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, if you hate me and my opinion and everything about me, give it a thumbs down. Alright, until we meet again, peace! Hey, if you like this video, and you want to see more of my ridiculous content, check out one of these. Maybe you'll enjoy yourself, or maybe you'll watch it and crap your pants. Click one and let's find out.